Yo, you feel that? Dog, that's queer retrograde, baby.
Hello and welcome back. I am Fritz. I use any pronouns and I am your host for Queer Retrograde. Welcome back. I am done with week 3, y'all. I'm officially a quarter of a way through this journey of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. The beginning of week 3 says that this week may find you dealing with unaccustomed bursts of energy and sharp peaks of anger, joy, and grief. You are coming into your power as the illusory hold of your previously accepted limits is shaken. You will be asked to consciously experiment with spiritual open-mindedness, which I know I talked about open-mindedness last week, and yeah, that little intro really just hit it right on the head. I feel like the peaks and the valleys have been strong. I will be really energized, really motivated, and then I will feel grief, sadness, and that sort of self-doubt starting to creep back in, but getting more diligent about letting it go. I've noticed that I'm wanting to stay up later at night. Last night I went outside. It was a super clear skies, and I just went outside and was just staring at the stars, and I was just feeling so grateful and inspired, and just realizing it's been a minute since I've just done that. I've just gone outside and just stared at the stars for a while, and the birds were singing. It was like super magical. So week 3 was all about recovering a sense of power. And in the text, Julia discusses anger and how anger is a tool to be used. It's information. I feel like we've talked about this on the podcast before, but yeah, whenever I'm angry, I'm trying to take note. I'm trying to not just say, oh, make it some excuse. Oh, well, that person that made me angry, like they don't matter, or they don't, whatever. It's not brushing it off, but it's taking it as the information it is, and really trying to understand what's happening inside of me. And oftentimes for me, I know anger is a blanket for sadness, and something that I'm just trying to protect myself from, I guess. So there was a lot more about anger, but I will leave it at that for now. She also spoke about synchronicity and how synchronicities are essentially the universe speaking to us, and the universe being our own self, our subconscious, our spirit guides, our just our attention. And no synchronicity is just by chance. If you notice something, it's on purpose, and there is a meaning or an intention or something behind it. So for the past year, basically last year around this time, March, I went to a Vipassana meditation retreat. I had never been before. If you don't know what Vipassana is, It is a meditation technique derived from India that is basically like a long form body scan where you're noticing the sensations in your body and trying to not react, trying to mentally train yourself. This is just a sensation. There's no connotation, no good or bad. This is just an experience that I'm having. And that the word they use for that is equanimity. So developing equanimity. And throughout it's a 10-day silent meditation retreat where you learn this technique. Basically, you have meals, you learn the technique, you have some breaks where you can like walk around outside, but for the most part, you're meditating, eating, sleeping. And also, like, I wasn't allowed to read or write. No, like, I handed in my phone at the beginning of the 10 days. And so there's really no other input. It's just really focusing on myself and my mind and where I'm at, what's happening. And still yet, I noticed a synchronicity. While I was there, every time I would look at a clock, because there were clocks like outside of the meditation hall and in our rooms and in the dining hall, I would notice that it would be 9:11, whether 9:11 in the morning or the evening. I just kept noticing 9/11, and since then, for the past year, I have been noticing this 911, and I've also started noticing 411 or 511, and even the other night it was 1011. So whenever I was at the retreat and I saw that, I took it as comfort. I was like, oh, you know, this synchronicity is kind of an affirmation, a sign to continue moving forward, continue with what I'm doing. Like, the kind of like the spirits that are sending me these numbers are cheering me on. And then ever since then, I think I kind of took it as that, but then I started thinking like, oh, well, 911, like, we're taught that is a call for help, a cry for help, right? That's, if you're in an emergency situation, you dial 911. Or even with like 9/11, I mean, living in the US, that has a really specific connotation, right? So I asked my friend who was pulling tarot for me, like, what do you make of this, if anything? And she had shared that in tarot, 9 is kind of the culmination of an experience or a lifetime, essentially. Like, 9 is the sort of wrapping up, the ending of a journey or a chapter. And then 1, or even 11, is kind of the new beginnings. So this whole past year, if I put it together, it's kind of like I'm on this arc. I'm on this ending to new beginning arc. I've been having a lot of dreams where I'm in a hotel or in an airport or even an airplane. All of these places that are transient spaces where you come for a moment and then you leave. You are in transition. You're in kind of this shifting, right? And so I took this week to just really notice that. I did a big pull of oracle cards, asking about it, and I think that the 411, 511, like all of it, it's kind of like a language that's being created between the universe and myself of where I'm at with my own commitment to myself and my own, like, if I'm on track or not, I guess, in terms of like my kindness to myself, being my number one fan, my own my own boo, my own best friend, all of these things. And so, yeah, more to come with that. But that was the big synchronicity that I noticed and was focusing on this week. Also, there were some other weird synchronicities that happened with like certain job openings or job opportunities as I'm re-entering kind of the workforce after working for myself for the past few years with Cazimi. And yeah, there are like a lot of feelings wrapped up in that. And so I've just been trying to hold all of that with a lot of tenderness and care. And this week in particular, just noticing that, noticing the sort of download of like, I'm in a transition, like this sort of chapter of my life is coming to a close. And of course, we take things with us into future chapters, but ultimately, like, there's going to be new people, places, ideas, things, etc. And there's a lot of excitement around that, and also grief. So yeah. Oh, yeah, that was something that Julia said in the synchronicity section was like, possibility is much more frightening than impossibility because it requires us to move into action. And that was also something I noticed this week. I had a conversation with my chosen family about our future and our kind of how we're working together to create stepping stones that we need to get to ultimately where we want, the ultimate dream. And just starting to take that really seriously. And it felt again really exciting and scary all at once. So it felt like, okay, now that we've talked about it in this really like, action oriented way, it's gonna be real, or it's like it already is real, you know? So yeah, that was synchronicity. Okay, and then after the synchronicity portion, she spoke about shame, which was super important for me because I think I talked about it last week, like this sort of self-criticism, self-judgment that comes up, or just not believing in myself, like, what do I do with it? And part of that is understanding the root, like the shame root, right? And like as a white person, this is so embedded in like my cells, right? Like literally shame is one of the things that upholds this like anti-Black culture that we live in. And you know, I've been revisiting white fragility and looking into shame, how shame functions, like, or how shame, like the many different ways that shame functions to uphold these systems, right? And one of the things that Julia said in the book was like how art making exposes a society to itself. And it's like a big fat mirror, right? That's why like the arts is being defunded all the time, because the people in power, they don't want us to see, you know, what is right in front of our faces, what we have been kind of bred to just live with, by, through, live for, you know? And let's see, there was like a section of the shame part that I wanted to read. Okay, so after she talked, or like within the shame section, she's also talking about criticism And so kind of in the bridge between those things, she's saying we must learn to protect our artist child from shame. We do this by diffusing our childhood shamings, getting them on the page, and sharing them with a trusted, non-shaming other, which is like kind of the foundations of like undoing racism or challenging racism within your life based off of what I was rereading in White Fragility, right? It's like, okay, a situation has been brought to your attention that you said something harmful or you said something racist or you committed a racist act, right? What do? When the shame or the guilt comes up, you write it down, you bring it to another white person to like talk it through with, a trusted white person that's like invested in also like growing and learning from their own mistakes and not upholding these systems, right? And then you try to repair the situation with the person, apologize, learn from it, offer some reparations, etc. So this is kind of like, I think, yeah, this bit is translatable across a lot of avenues of life, I think is what I'm trying to convey, and like how it's the sort of synchronicities that I have been noticing within the different areas of life and work that I'm really devoted to. So then she's talking about whenever we get criticism, the sort of internal stories or thoughts that might come up, like, I know that the work I make is good. I thought that it was good work, but could I be kidding myself? Maybe that critic is right. Why did I ever have the nerve to think? And then the downward spiral begins. She says, at these times, we must be very firm with ourselves and not pick up the first doubt. We simply cannot allow the first negative thinking to take hold. Taking in the first doubt is like picking up the first drink for an alcoholic. Once in our system, the doubt will take on another doubt and another. Doubting thoughts can be stopped, but it takes vigilance to do it. Maybe that critic was right, and boom, we must go into action. You are a good artist, a brave artist. You are doing well. It's good that you did the work. So, like, the antidote for shame is self-love and self-praise. And so whatever kind of tactics an artist has to take care of themselves. So for me, like going on a walk, seeing nature, seeing that mirror of nature is always super helpful for me. I feel a deep sense of belonging in nature. And then returning to that self-love and self-praise voice of like, I know that I am a good friend. I know I'm loving, I'm caring, and like all this says about me is that I'm human and I make mistakes, whatever it is, right? Or, you know, maybe whatever situation I'm going through, it's not even about me. Like whatever criticism I received is not personal. And that's something else that she spoke about is like knowing we must be very self-protective in where and who to seek out right criticism. So when it comes to our art, like who do you trust in terms of, is the criticism something where you can actually learn from it, or is it very vague and opaque and like doesn't really give you any additional sense of direction? That was reminded me of whenever I would go into critique like in college, and there would be certain voices where I would just be like, what are you saying? Like, I actually don't know if this is helpful. And then kind of developing that discernment over time of who ultimately was giving criticism or feedback that I could really grow from and trust. Okay, what else? So in dealing with criticism, there are a set of 9 sort of rules or steps that she gave to accept criticism. So I'll share those. And this is for any form of criticism. Receive the criticism all the way through and get it over with. Jot down notes to yourself on what concepts or phrases bother you. Jot down notes on what concepts or phrases seem useful. Do something very nurturing for yourself. Read an old good review or recall a compliment. Remember that even if you have made a truly rotten piece of art, it may be a necessary stepping stone to your next work. Art matures spasmodically and requires ugly duckling growth stages. Drink some water. Look at the criticism again. Does it remind you of any criticism from your past, particularly shaming childhood criticism? Acknowledge to yourself that the current criticism is triggering grief over a long-standing wound. Write a letter to the critic, not to be mailed, most probably. Defend your work and acknowledge what was helpful, if anything, in the criticism offered. Get back on the horse, make an immediate commitment to do something creative, and do it. Creativity is the only cure for criticism. Yeah. So, in terms of the exercises, I did one that was describing your childhood room and your favorite parts of it, which was really fun to think back on. I made a list of friends who nurture me, and I called a friend who treats you like a really bright person who can accomplish great things. All of those were great tasks because it's always fun for me to remember who I have like in my corner. And then, inner compass activity. Oh my gosh, this fly. Great news, y'all. We have got a mushroom hookup for y'all. I have been microdosing on and off for a few years now and can definitely say that when I'm on top of my dosing, my baseline is calmer, freer, and more open-minded. That's because a major benefit of microdosing is its ability to enhance neuroplasticity, your brain's natural ability to adapt, rewire, and recover from dysfunction. Mycelium combines the healing benefits of ancient medicine with science-backed nootropics and adaptogens. Each blend is packed with unique benefits. Mycelium offers a wide variety of products, making it easy to integrate microdosing into your day-to-day life. Hobbes loves their coconut creamer, and I'm really into the capsules for love because, of course, I'm a little lover boy. Click the link in our show notes and use the code Cazimi for 20% off your purchase. Again, use the link in our show notes, and the code is Cazimi, Cazimi, for 20% off your purchase. Okay, it is wild how one fly can create so much havoc. Oh my gosh, I think it might still be here. Okay. But yes, so an inner compass activity, something that can essentially return us to our instinct that points us towards health. And so it can be painting, driving, walking, scrubbing, running. So I went for a walk. It's been super nice here lately, so I've been going for a walk, and then also juicing. I I pulled the juicer back out. I made some delicious orange juice and some delicious pineapple lemon juice, and also some immunity shots. So that was really fun. And in terms of my morning pages, I did them every day. There was one day that I was running late for an appointment, so I only wrote 2 pages. But for the most part, 3 pages every day. It's been going well. I will say, like, I'm super motivated for my morning pages. My meditation practice, I've been feeling less motivated towards. And I think that it's all related. Like the shame and the self-doubt, kind of the insecurities that the Artist Way has been really uncovering and helping me to address. Like, they're also the voice inside that tells me, like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, or because ultimately what's underneath the blanket of I don't feel like doing this, I think, is you don't deserve the benefits of this practice, or you don't deserve to be like the attention that comes from this practice. So I've just been trying to remember that, like, whenever that sort of dialogue of like, I don't feel like doing this comes up, that I deserve it. I deserve to sit with myself every morning and be in silence with myself, be present with myself, and whatever benefits come from that practice, I deserve all of it. And my artist date this week is that I went to an improv class, which, if you've never done it before, highly recommend. We played a bunch of different games. We did a yes and game. We did a little cocktail party game where there was like 3 sets of two all sitting at like this fake cocktail table, basically. And the teacher would point to whichever duo was supposed to start talking and having conversation, and then you could kind of listen to what the other couples were saying and maybe reference it after a while. That was hard for me to like listen while I was pretending to like eat and drink my food and stuff like that, but it was really fun. I laughed a lot. I was so nervous. Afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like sweating so bad. Like, I smell terrible. Those like performance anxiety sweats, I forgot how intense those can be, but I laughed a lot. So we'll see if I'll go back, but it was really fun. And other than that, yeah, I have also been noticing, so related to what I was saying about my meditation practice, like, that I have a tendency to shame myself if I veer off of whatever idea I had for myself, whatever plan I had set up for myself. If I veer off of that, I have a tendency for that shame or that kind of negative self-talk to come into play. So I've just been noticing that and trying to shift that to where if I decide, okay, I'm only going to meditate for 30 minutes today because I'm already feeling hungry and I know I need to eat, like, that isn't me failing. That is simply me adapting to meet whatever the caring for the moment means or looks like. So trying to think of all of my practices as tools that I can pick up to care for whatever's coming up in each particular moment, versus like a strict regime that I need to follow no matter what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, etc. So that's been a helpful beginning of a shift, I'll say. And anytime I start to feel like, oh, dang, like, you didn't go the full hour, whatever it is, like, just let it go. Let that go and move on. Like, I know that I have a lot of great self-discipline. I know that I am committed to myself and my growth and my healing. And so anything that I could tell myself outside of that is just me shaming myself, essentially. And like this week showed, I need to be really diligent in protecting myself from that and shifting those patterns, because they're addictive, you know? It's another pattern of addiction. So yeah, it was a packed week. I am looking forward to week 4, which will be recovering a sense of integrity. So if you've been following along this journey with me, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will be back every Wednesday. I wanted to do 3 weeks in a row where I was publishing on the same... There's the fly. Do you see it? It's on my head. Okay. I wanted to do 3 weeks in a row of publishing on Wednesdays to make sure that I could stay committed to Wednesdays. But now that I've done it, Wednesdays, these episodes will be published live, where you can hear about what I went through this past week, what the themes were, and if you are curious about anything in particular, please feel free to DM us at Queer Retrograde on Instagram, or email us at queerretrograde@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you and answer any questions you might have. Until then, have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon.
Please, dear God, keep the gay agenda alive and tell your gay friends about this gay-ass podcast. Bless, bless, bless.